So what's huge news in college wrestling, Jaydin Eierman, who is a three-time All-American from Missouri, will be transferring to Iowa, not this season, but next season. This season, he'll be taking an Olympic red shirt. He'll be trying to make the U.S. Olympic team for 2020. But next season, he will be a Hawkeye. So there's a story here from Flow Wrestling. It just says there's a quick turnaround from his transfer process to him announcing he was going to Iowa. So previous to him announcing that it was Iowa, he had announced that he was going to be transferring from Missouri. Didn't name Iowa, but he said that the reason he was leaving Missouri is because he wanted to go to a school that had a better RTC or regional training center for him to work and develop his game, so he'd be able to maximize his ability and get as far as he can in international wrestling. So it seems like, at least for him, between now and 2024, his goal is to make this year's Olympic team and at least try to make next year's Olympic team and see what he can do in the meantime. Maybe get some world titles, get an Olympic title. That's his goal. Whether or not he's able to do that, I don't know about that, but he's definitely one of the better wrestlers in the country. So for him, he feels like this is his best opportunity. And for Iowa, this is enormous. For college wrestling, this is big. It feels like for the last 10 years or so, it's pretty much just been Penn State winning title after title. There was a year when Kyle Snyder and Ohio State was able to get one in. But this year, it seems like there's a chance that Iowa might be able to do it. But next year, in having Jaydin Eierman on their team, it's going to help them a lot. And it's going to give them a real shot at knocking off Penn State and winning a title, especially with Penn State graduating some of their best seniors. Guys like Mark Hall, I believe Vincenzo Joseph will be graduated too. So this is huge news for college wrestling. So quickly, just to look at his background and his results. Last year, he finished third at 141. The year before that, he finished fourth. The year before that, he finished fifth. So always a guy who's making it to the All-American stand, a guy who's been top five, getting a lot of team points for Missouri. And if he can keep up what he's done in the past for Iowa, that's going to be really big for them. So just looking at some of the matches that he's had. Last year, he lost to Yanni. Yanni Giacomohalis has been a bit of a problem for him. Yanni's also going to be taking an Olympic red shirt this year. I'm sure he'll be back next year, although it's not clear what weight each of these guys will be at. There's a chance that Eierman might move up to 49. Yanni might move up to 49. We don't know. So maybe they'll be in the same weight class again. Maybe they won't. But even if they are in the same weight class, it's not like these guys are like worlds apart. You can see here, score 6-5. So Yanni just barely edged him out. But a lot of other really big wins here for him. So if we look at Iowa's roster for 2021, what you'll have Spencer Lee, who will be a senior at that point. Lee is a two-time NCAA champion, has a shot at being a three-time if he wins it this year. At 33, it'll be interesting to see where Iowa goes this year with the spot. It would make sense for them to go with Austin DeSanto, who is ranked number 5 at the weight right now. But he may move up a weight class and then have Gavin Teasdale, who's not 171. He's a lot better than that, but he may slide in. Teasdale, I believe, got a win over Paul Glenn in the wrestle-offs. So there's a chance that Teasdale could slide in there, and he may have the potential to be All-American level. I don't know whether or not that's the case. We haven't actually seen him wrestle in college. That's all speculation, but he could be a guy who scores some good team points for Iowa. But if we're talking about what next year's team looks like, not this year's team, there's reason to believe that DeSanto could make 33. At 141, Max Murin will be returning. Jaydin Eierman will be there as well. He'll be a senior that year. Just because he's taking a red shirt, as you can see here. Carter Happel, I don't really see him making the starting lineup. But you would figure that their team, it would be Lee, it would be DeSanto, and then here you could potentially have Eierman, and here's where it gets a little bit interesting, is that at 49, they're going to be graduating Pat Lugo, who was an All-American last year. Vince Turk will also be graduating. So there's a bit of a hole at 49, so you would figure that Murin or Eierman, one of those two is going to move up to 49. Murin did not make the All-American stand last year. I believe he was a match away from doing it. So potentially for next year, you could either have Murin, you could have Murin and or Teasdale / DeSanto here at 141. Any one of those guys is within distance of making the All-American stand. And then you could have Eierman up at 49, or you could take Murin and move him up to 49 and potentially have him be a guy who you'd figure at least would qualify for nationals. I don't know how many points he would score for Iowa, but he could definitely do a little bit of damage there. 57, you would have Caleb Young, who'd be a senior at that point. Young is ranked number 3 right now. He was an All-American last year. So he can definitely score some good team points for Iowa. At 65, you'll have Alex Marinelli as a senior. Again, really good opportunity for them there. Kemmerer should be a redshirt senior next year as well. He's going to be a guy who's going to be top 3 in the country, you'd figure. Then we'll have Cash Wilkie, who's going to be graduating. But Abe Assad, he's a lot better than 151 here. He just hasn't had a chance to prove himself in college yet, but he was an elite guy in high school. Just had a match with Cash Wilkie at the wrestle-offs, lost it in the tiebreak. scores 3-2. So he's right there with Wilkie. You'd figure that over the course of this year, he'll get a lot better. And next year, he'll be good enough to the point where if he's not All-American level in 2021, he'll at least be good enough to put some points on the board for Iowa. They'll have Jacob Warner, who will be a junior, guy who's an All-American level guy. He'll likely make the stand. And then Anthony Cassiope, this is his redshirt freshman year. A lot of people expect him to be an All-American this year, but even if he isn't, the improvements between this year and next should be pretty good. So Iowa's definitely going to have a real chance, especially with Penn State losing some of their top guys to graduation. They'll have a real chance to win it in 2021, and this transfer of Jaydin Eierman is going to be big for college wrestling.